It was the one, Asanka, you and I did on decision making, right?
Brainstorming.
Brainstorming with the white hat and the blue hat and all that. That was a lot of fun for me.
Plus
I
one to
really
that.
enjoyed that one.
Like, I heard this phrase also, like you have to listen as if you are sweating, because that's something you are actively doing. Like if you are doing active workout, you are sweating, right? So if you are actively listening, that's very different from just hearing.
It just occurred to me, the most common response from a BS consultant is, it depends.
That's the best answer, Sean. Hi everyone, welcome to our first anniversary edition of Our Tech Chronicles. This is episode number 40, and today we are celebrating our 1 year of storytelling in Tech Chronicles. We started this in November of 2024. It's been a great run, and we want to really thank each and everyone who has joined live today to ask the questions from the host. So welcome. We are going to be answering questions based on the episodes we have had so far and any questions that you guys have. So welcome, Yuresh, Roshan, Shan. We are still having people joining the call. So maybe in the meantime, you can give a quick introduction of yourselves.
Sure, I can go
start.
first. Yeah, thanks, Asanka. This is super exciting. We've come a long way to get to this point. Thanks for organizing this, Asanka. Appreciate it. Hey everyone, my name is Roshan Paiva, Senior Engineering Manager at Atlassian. Excited to do this with all of you. Yuresh?
Hey, yeah, this is super exciting, and also one of the first times all four of us are joining at the same time after a while. So hey everyone, my name is Yuresh De Silva. I've been with this podcast from day one. I do software architecture consulting with various clients as my primary passion these days, and super excited to be part of this episode today.
Cool.
Hey everyone. My name is Shan Sudarshan. Been in multiple roles in IT, but right now I lead an engineering team that builds real estate information services solution.
Cool. And my name is Asanka Jayaratna. I'm your gracious host today, and I'm in FinTech, leading product and program management. All right. So I think we have about, 60 odd people tuned in now. I think that's a good number to get started. All right. There are a number of questions that they have raised already, but I want to get started with something that's fun. One of the questions is like, what is one of your most memorable episodes so far?
I can go first. I think it was the one, Asanka, you and I did on, what was it? Decision making, right?
Brainstorming.
Brainstorming with the white hat and the blue hat and all that. That was a lot of fun for me.
Plus one to that.
That one.
I was going to go with the last one, Tech Moms. I wasn't part of that, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. It was pretty entertaining, informative. Some tough questions were asked. Yeah, that's one of the favorites.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, two episodes come to mind in terms of going down the memory lane. I think both of them were done by like Roshan and I. One was around like how we basically migrated to US, part of like our work, and it kind of brought back like some fun memories because we had like a significant amount of like overlap while doing that too. And actually the second one was like what Asanka and I did around my consulting career. So it took me back to like the days like I was with two of the big fours, a lot of fun memories there, and it was a nice feeling to run that through my mind of how that career progressed.
Cool. All right. Next, we have a AI question.
Wait, what about yours, Asanka?
One more. And Asanka, we want to know yours as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So mine is also the brainstorming one. I think we had a lot of fun. And just to give you some background to the listeners, right? So when I was sharing the screen, I couldn't actually see Roshan. So we were playing it blind, but when we look at the recording, it was perfect.
It was. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And it was so funny because you were talking about these things, and I do love caps. I happen to have a white cap there, so the switch was fun. I just want to add another fun one I liked was the Christmas one we did, Yuresh. That was another really fun one, right? Yeah, it was good. Yeah, cool.
All right. So the AI question: what do most tech leaders get wrong about staying relevant in the age of AI? I think that's a great question.
One thing I have seen is more than like the tech leaders, some of the leaders that kind of misconstrue that AI can do a lot of things on its own rather than like human intervention. I think like it's a matter of perspective too. Like you can obviously with a lot of advances that in the recent past around agentic AI and all the additional things that go along with it can do a lot of things, but like you need to invest a lot to kind of get there, right? Like it's not going to kind of happen overnight. I'm seeing that over and over, like, oh, like we can use AI for this, we can use AI for that, but not really thinking through without having like a proper strategy and things like that. Like, so I think it's more like a misunderstanding or like a um, overestimate on things, mostly coming from non-technical leaders that I have seen. But I also see that like coming from like a lot of technical leaders too, to a good amount of extent, I would say.
That's a good one. I would also say most tech leaders put it on the teams that has already got a lot of work to do to also do AI research, which if the tech leaders push it too hard, then it kind of takes away the fun part. I think the tech leaders have to make room for such skunk work to happen by reducing the workload that they already have, or get a couple of more resources like contractors, maybe offload some of the work and make room for it to happen.
Yeah, I want to add something. I'm not sure if it is something the tech leaders get wrong, but I believe one of the misconception is AI can be equally productive and applicable across every function in the organization. I think there is pressure on everyone to use AI, but I don't think it's equally useful or equally applicable to every function.
I'm with you on that. I'm actually seeing some companies now trying to measure AI usage and use it as a metric within the company to push adoption. I mean, I understand why, right? There is a productivity gain there, but you're absolutely right. It doesn't apply equally across all the different disciplines. So something to think about there.
All right, the next question is on leadership. I know we had a few episodes on leaderships and reorgs. So, question is, what's one piece of advice you used to believe in but you don't anymore?
Mm.
How
Mm.
have you changed? In terms of your thinking?
I think maybe I can go first. It actually, I wouldn't say I changed, but it made me focus on it a little bit more. The episode with Deb Asanka, where he walked us through something about his career early on that set him apart from everyone else. And he said one of the things that helped him be recognized in like tens of thousands of people is his relentless pursuit of finishing stuff, getting things done. Uh, right. And I think that resonated with me a lot, because sometimes you trust teams to get stuff done, at least I used to, without really like poking holes and understanding exactly where they are. So after listening to him, I started trying to be better at that, really understanding and making sure that things get delivered on time with high quality and all that good stuff.
Anything else? Yuresh, Shan, you want to add anything?
Maybe go ahead.
Yeah, so good.
I was going to say something about leading and following. I think the followership is underrated. People always say you should be a leader, but then I realize now that there is huge benefit in being a follower too, like someone you aspire to be, and that kind of is contagious amongst your group. Yeah, that's what came to my mind.
I can add another one actually, right? Is the one we did with Ruindu. He said something around, before you are able to lead other people, you need to lead yourself first, right? And I thought that was also very powerful. So if you can control yourself to be disciplined to do certain things, then now you know how to slowly lead other people. And I mean, I'm not paraphrasing what he said, but I thought that statement was very powerful.
Yeah, and another thing Ruindu said that resonated with me is hire better than you, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I thought that was really good advice. You should be hiring someone that you don't mind reporting to in the future.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yuresh, we have a specific question for you,
Wow, okay.
right? So this is, I think, from the consulting episode. You done work with multiple consulting organizations. So the question is like, to become successful in tech consulting today, what's more important? Tech skills are more important, or smart networking is more important?
I would say like the short answer is a bit of both. So let me explain like what I mean by that. So at least like since I started doing independent consulting, like the networking side mattered more, like started mattering more, right? So and I it kind of happened organically to me, honestly, like if I look back on it. So some of the networks I built when I was doing full-time consulting kind of helped me transition to more independent consulting. And if I look at all my clients up to date have been either from like a past network or like whom they have introduced me to. So it's more like a word of mouth. So definitely from that point of view, smart networking definitely matters. And obviously you have to kind of stay relevant and up to date with a lot of technologies because now I could walk into a meeting or a conversation with a potential client, which could be like an open topic. It could be anything and everything, right? It could be anything from like a legacy digital transformation to more AI strategy driven type of like a conversation. So you need to kind of keep up with the evolution of technologies while kind of working on that. I would say like it's a good mixture of both in my experience.
And I can add also, that's a great point, Yuresh. There was a time that I was a consultant too, as a external consultant working in fintech. I think the secret in my mind is behind being a confident communicator. So if you're a confident communicator who also has tech skills, then you create network automatically, right? Because you can walk into any kind of situation and then convince the audience.
Yeah, I think networking is in general important, regardless of whether you are working for consulting company or for a regular corporate job. You want to make sure that you have a good network of people. I think this came up in multiple conversations, like even with the tech moms, they spoke about when they were going on maternity leave, it's important to have their champions, the people they have really good network with. And in any organization, you need to have your sponsors, people who will look after you, like when you are not there at your seat.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going, Asanga,
No,
because
go
I
ahead,
want to add
Yuresh.
another. No, I was going to say, yeah, like my earlier response was more from a client acquisition point of view, right? But now that you kind of mentioned this other angle, yeah, that definitely matters because I run like a very lean organization with my consulting, but I have a good amount of network that I can reach out to if I need help, right? Like, so if I need like support from other part-time consultants, there's like pretty good coverage, and that did not kind of build like overnight. That is based on like whom I have interacted on, like gotten to know over the past 20 plus years of my career, right? And you guys included, like obviously like, there's and like we have like a lot of mutual friends who are part of that. When I get new work, I reach out to my network to see like, hey, like I have this requirement. Are you interested to work on that and go about that? Like, so yeah, it kind of matters from a well-rounded aspect, I would say.
Can I add something to that, Yuresh? For me, I feel it's like a chicken and egg story because I'll tell you why, right? The reason why you're successful, first of all, is because of your skills, Yuresh. You have to do a really good job and you build a reputation. And then your network will grow because people trust you and they know you're going to do it really well, right? And I think that and as you grow in your career, then networking becomes important, but that foundation of being really good at what you do stays true. I'm just saying, if that was not true, even if you have a good network,
Yeah.
it won't work, right?
The only caveat to that, I 100% agree, and I think that applies for most, with a few exception who are like master BSS, right? Just to put some twist around it, because that, I mean, come on, we all have at least one person we know who can do that, right? So if you are like a salesman by definition who can sell anything, so to speak, just to use an analogy, they are like great at like selling stuff without like having like great skill set, but that is limited to like a very niche amount of people. But for the most of us, I completely agree. Like you need to kind of have that backbone built to even network to be able to grow your network.
It just occurred to me the most common response from a BS consultant is it depends.
That's the best answer, Sean. All right, guys, moving on. We have lots of questions. I want to make sure we get as many questions through. So the next question is about going global. So I have a small startup in India and wants to understand about going global, like growing the company across countries, and if you guys have any advice.
Yeah,
How old is the company? Do we know? We just have to go with
No, I
the
don't have the name of the company. Yeah.
my 2 cents. I can start maybe. Is before you invest, going global is a big investment. The architecture changes, everything changes. I think if they have not solved a problem for a local, problem locally first, going global is could be a disaster, right? So I would say as a startup, first solve a local problem really, really well, understand the problem space, what are the pain points, and have like, really good customer impact. Then you can start gradually going global. Now, what reminds me is the story how Chevan
yeah,
took Millennium Mighty global, right? And he started really small first, one country at a time, solved it really well, and then he built a playbook. It's nice that we're going back to some of our episodes, right?
right. Yeah, I mean, just to add some additional things Shawan said, right? So yeah, very very well said, Roshan. If you must go global, I think it is important that you start with some like extending to a new region or a new country where you already have some representation, right? Like if you have already have identified a partner, if you already have someone within your organization who knows about that region, whatever that might be. Like, I think like don't try to go like new and play it a bit safe because there's a lot of factors that you may have not even thought about that will come into picture like when you go global. The market might react differently. Like there might be different regulations. There might be different cultural differences. There's like a multitude of things that you need to think or like you haven't even thought of that you'll have to tackle. So yeah, start small. Start with what you know, or partner with someone who is already familiar with that, or hire someone who can kind of advise you on that. Is what I would advise on.
That's spot
And
on.
my answer to that is it depends.
And I was waiting for a serious answer now.
That's it. That's it. That's my answer. Just kidding. It really depends on what the company does, right? If it is a services company, maybe you can reach out with less investment. But if it's a product company, and it depends on what product
Hmm.
they're building. Like if it's anything to do with healthcare, no, like it's going to be very hard to penetrate because of regulations, like Yuresh mentioned. But if it is innocent things like photo AI or some other things that people can use for productivity, you can try it out. So there's no harm in that.
I think just to recollect some of the things Shevan said, right, about going global. First of all, like you have to define what you mean by going global. Going global is not going to the US or going to the European market necessarily, right? Going global could be going outside your country, growing within Asia or Asia Pacific. You have to define what that global market is. I think the biggest challenge you're going to find is getting reputation, getting recognition for your company, for your product in the foreign market. I think Siobhan mentioned like, white labeling your product
Hmm.
because you have a really good product, but you don't have the brand recognition. So how do you overcome that challenge? So you
Right.
have to define what your challenges are and then address one at a time. Find winning partners in the right regions to distribute it, and
Hmm.
even if they are small wins, like celebrate those and move forward, right? And that's how you have a snowballing effect on expanding your organization. I'm just trying to recollect the what he
Yeah.
said. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I just one more point before we move to the next one. Yeah, so we are talking more from the marketing or expanding operation, sorry, expanding your footprint like based on like your product. There's also like an operational aspect, right? So when, for example, like when we started our career, offshore was the thing, right? But now it's like nearshore plus offshore because there's more. I don't necessarily think it's more just like credibility thing, but also there's better coverage.
Hmm.
You will have more overlap in terms of core time zones or shared time zones, even from regulatory things. So there's operational aspects as well that you can think of from a global point of view.
All right, we have a slightly different question on education. Also, thinking about AI, things have changed a lot. Like, is grad school still a thing, or is it enough to do short courses? Also, given that we have AI as a resource. I thought that's a really good question. Thoughts?
So, I have thought about this for a while after undergrad. I personally felt that grad school is not for me, so I have never pursued that. But I definitely think short courses would be more relevant because this is just like my personal opinion, right? It'll give you more flexibility to do many things at the same time. Whereas I feel if you try to do grad school, a lot of your focus and energy would be going into like that one element. Again, it's a personal preference or perspective, but that's what I think.
No, yeah. I have an interesting perspective. I feel still grad school has a role to play for a few reasons. One is um, the program teaches you to think critically. Forget what you're studying, whether it's an MBA or an MSc or PhD, whatever, right? It teaches you to think critically, and that helps you in your career for a very long time. That's one, right? So the subject matter may evolve, and it does, right? But it's okay because your brain is now trained to absorb things faster, critically think about it, argue about it, build a thesis, all that good stuff, right? The second thing I think grad school brings for people is the net. We talked about network. You're going to school with all these people who are going to be the next level leaders, and you built a good connection with them because as you advance in your career, you need these networking aspects to either join those companies or they join you, or maybe you start your own thing or something. I feel that there's some value there as well. I'm sure there's more, but the first two things that come to mind for me.
Spot on, Roshan. And this topic is very near and dear to me because I'm completing my grad school right now. Actually, only 3 weeks more. I think anyone who is pursuing grad school in the hope of it working for you to find a job is not the right approach. The grad school is actually for you. And I actually started it not because I wanted to get a promotion. If it comes, it's nice. But to Roshan's point, I did it because it's well organized, because I wouldn't personally take a course on corporate ethics ever. Right? I wouldn't take a separate course for corporate finances. That's like boring. Yes, right? But when you learn like I'm doing the MBA, when you learn it as a full program, you get bits and pieces of all of that. That makes sense. Like, why do companies do this? Why do companies do that? So it's beneficial to me. So I hope that, audience out there, don't go for a grad school hoping that it'll automatically get you promotion. It's about what you get out of it and how you show that in your work that gets you that.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't say depends, but 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 just to add to that, I think also the timing is important, right? Because you want to make sure what you learn from the grad school is something that you can apply in your workplace. And then there are some grad courses that actually like advanced studies, data science, that are more relevant for career progression. It really depends where you are in the career. All right. Here's another question. I think this has been asked, especially kind of the US experience. There's a lot of talk about AI and automation. And have you guys actually felt AI is really taking away jobs? Or is it really creating new jobs?
Hard to answer that. I don't know if it's taking away jobs yet, but I will definitely say it's the bar of what is the expectation of a junior engineer is just skyrocketed. The bar is so much more higher because of tools like AI, right? And so you have these very high expectations of what an engineer is going to produce. So that is changing. I don't know whether we will reduce hiring junior engineers because they are the ones who eventually progress and become middle managers and leaders eventually. So it's hard to say whether it's taking over the jobs, but I think the expectations of people are changing. Even teams, right? I'm seeing that. I'm sure you are seeing it too. The turnaround time is much shorter now, right? To show something.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of news around companies doing a lot of layoffs, but it's hard to understand whether is it based on real data or is it based on like projections. right? Or like some hypothetical scenarios. I'm sure like there's like a lot of decisions are made based on from a financial aspect, but I personally don't know whether we have enough data points at this point to kind of say that yes, like we can cut these roles and focus more on the other roles or something like that. Like it might be a bit premature, but we are definitely seeing a lot of jobs being reduced because of the rise. At the same time, to Roshan's point, I think there's an uptake in certain other areas. Like you need more skills that are built around like AI that organizations would need to hire. I mean, whether it's affecting existing jobs or like creating new jobs, I think one thing for sure is that everyone should start understanding AI more and more, right? Or start leveraging AI more and more. I think we have covered this in multiple topics in the past. If you haven't used AI up to date, you're already behind at this point, right? For any kind of purpose. We are using a lot of people are using ChatGPT type like AI, how we used to use Google search now. So that has become like part of our everyday life. But yeah, that's kind of my take on it.
I will just add to that, Yuresh. What you said actually made me think of something. I feel the white collar, lower level jobs definitely are impacted. I won't say they lose, but
Hmm.
they impacted because AI can do it, right? And human in the middle still plays a big role, right? But AI can do a very good job. The analysis, research, note taking, stuff
Hmm.
like that. You know what's interesting? Blue collar jobs are going to become much more important now because AI is not going to come and fix your leaky faucet, right? Or stuff like that, or cut your lawn. Maybe someone will make a robot, but
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, right?
right? Or
Right.
my problem right now is I want to put lights on my house for Christmas. I need someone to come and do that, right? So I feel we're going through a cycle where the blue collar jobs become a lot more important and more rare. I think my controversial take.
I think it's transforming the existing jobs for sure. And this is my personal opinion, by the way, might be controversial. Is that a lot of people talk about large company laying off thousands of people, right? But they never talk about how many people they hired after, right? And this kind of shows in the unemployment rate too. Like you would expect the unemployment rate to skyrocket based on the number of people they are laying off. But what they're actually doing is they're refreshing the employee base to kind of, they realize that they can hire someone who knows about AI and reach that productivity. If you are interested to retain your job, you're right, Yuresh, like absolutely you need to get into AI sooner than later.
Very well said, Sean. Very well said.
I was just scanning through the questions. We have a few more questions, trying to figure out what's the final few questions I can bring up. All right. So, what another question, maybe for us to wrap up. The question is like, after us attending so many podcasts with guests, what have we learned? It's a very personal question. And any final thoughts that you want to lead the attendees with? Like, what's final? If you have any one advice, what would that be? A tough question.
I can probably go first. I certainly reduce my filler words.
Good one.
If I look back at the very first episode, there are so many arms, ahs. I just did one. Trust me, it improved. Even when I'm in meetings, doing these podcasts actually helps me avoid using filler words. So personally, it improved a lot for me.
Love it. I love this, right? Same for me, Sean. And definitely improved a lot, all of us, right? For me, I used to have this massive fear in public speaking. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this as well, right? And I remember back in the day, just preparing for the podcast, I would have like so many notes, and I spent like a couple of
Stressed
hours
out.
preparing, right? Preparing, and then and also testimony how bad we were is the editing used to take hours of
Yes.
editing,
Yeah.
removing these filler words and whatnot, right? And now maybe 15-20 minutes of prep time. I think we've gotten better at speaking and coming up with articulating our thoughts much faster. And editing is a breeze. It's actually really doesn't take a lot of effort at all. So that's I think something we've all gotten better at least definitely for me. And what was the second part, Asanka? You asked? I'll leave the audience.
But
Leave the audience. keep watching the podcast. We'll have many more episodes, right? And share it with your friends. Ask us more questions. Yes, it's only going to get better. So thank you for being
Yeah,
subscribers, but keep listening to our podcast.
yeah, I definitely wanted to echo on that, and I agree with what both Sean and Rashan said on how we have evolved. But quick shout out to everyone who's dialed in right now and all our regular viewers. We are over 7,000 subscribers right now and growing. So really appreciate like everyone's help and support to grow this channel within a short 1 year period. Also, we always welcome questions, suggestions, and keep commenting on our episodes so that we can learn from those as well. And we have been true to our objective, trying to release an episode once a week, which we have done for the most part, I would say. And we are continuing to do that while having a good time doing it as well. So thank you.
95% success rate.
Yes. All right. So
Yeah, I
on
wanted to
that
say
note,
one. Yeah.
Asanka,
Yeah.
what
Wait.
about
Wait.
you?
Wait.
yeah. So I think for me, biggest thing, like I've learned a lot through this episode. Every episode I join with the intent of learning from you guys as well as from the guest. And what I've learned from this is there's a big difference between hearing things and listening to someone. Because especially when you are in this podcast, because it's been recorded, you wanna ask the right questions in the context. So I've been really improving on my active listening skills as opposed to just hearing what someone says. Like I heard this phrase also, like you have to listen as if you are sweating, right? Because that's something you're actively doing. Like if you're doing active workout, you're sweating. Right? So if you're actively listening, that's very different from just hearing. I think that's the biggest advice I would also leave you with.
That's a great point, Asanka. Totally get it. And I just wanted to ask one more thing. I think there is a reason behind that question, whomever is asking. To you, audience, like if you have an idea that you wanted to start your own podcast, don't wait. Just start it because everything has a humble beginning and you never know how you touch the audience, right? It could be the style of speech, could be natural or the topic you're talking about. So I would encourage you to start it.
I want to say one tiny love all your suggestions. I agree. I used to learn something every time we do the episode. I want to say a big thank you to all of you for joining this episode. We're humbled by all of you joining and asking all these questions. Just gives us more motivation to keep going. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. So on that note, we'll wrap it up.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.